So we have to be very updated with the Cisco's courses and the Cisco's devices. Okay, so this is our Cisco CCNA 200-301, which is Chapter 1, Introduction to Networking Basics and Devices. This is not really, it doesn't exist in the Cisco's catalog course load. So this is, you could say it's a different course that we just customize just for the new students to understand what is Cisco CCNA, and it's just a modified courses. It's just not really exist in the Cisco's catalog. So don't be confused when this happen. So let's start now. First, before going ahead, I'm gonna show you actually a little diagram, which is a basic 3D model. So how, what would you expect when you go to any job, or what you would expect when you go to any office or data center, a small data center with a 42U rack. So you would expect something, this 3D model, you would expect something there when you go there. At the back, you would see here on the top, let's say, I'm gonna turn on my EPX. Okay. So what you would see when you go to data center, this is our IT rack. We call it what? IT rack. And this is start from a U. This is actually a unit number here. So it depends on what kind of unit you have. It starts from 12U to 40U. That's the unit numbers, which is actually tell you, okay, where your switch are, in which unit you are right now. So you can screw there. So you will screw your switches here. There would be an option to screw your, switch, router, servers. So mostly servers are 2U or 1U. And the same as switches. Switches could be 1U or could be 2U, or some data center switches could vary to up to, maybe a full rack. Like you would see a 42U switch as well, a bigger data center, a bigger switch. So there would be a different type of switches and different type of servers as well. You can see the servers as well. Like with servers start from 1U to even go for almost 40U, 42U. Even though you have 42U, they may have another cluster going on, which makes 2 racks together is one server, one single server, one blade server. You would see somewhere. So we will see that later, what a blade server now. But what we will see how 1U switch, a 2U switch, and different type of switches. And what is that? We will see. But we call it IT rack. So hopefully everybody understands. Hopefully everybody understand what's to you. Can you put in the chat if you guys know what is this? Yes, thank you, Chaitanya and Bukhari. Thank you, great. Okay, so this is our rack. So you would see all the way units here. It's always a symmetrical size. It's never been changed. So at the bottom, you would see a UPS rack, a UPS system actually, which is a power system, which let's say your electricity goes, let's say electricity went off, right? So you don't have any electricity in the building right now. So what you could do is you must need a one backup solution, which could at least, give you 30 minutes, a timer, 30 minutes of time for going on the battery. So you can run your system on 30 minutes on this system, even you don't have electricity. So it's very important part. You must have this at your location. And why you need it, even the electricity, you cannot rely on even though you have a 24-hour electricity, you could have someday a downtime, which is there is no electricity due to repair or due to maintenance in your building. So they may ask you to do the shutdown. So you have a critical customers, right? You have some critical customers which they don't want a downtime. So you need to make sure that your UPS is compatible with all the power that given to you, and the server can run on at least for 30 minutes or the time of maintenance. So you must make sure. You can even buy the more UPS as well. So some I have seen, even our company, what we did, we put one more rack here. right? We put one more rack, and that rack is completely for UPS, that dedicated for UPS. It doesn't have anything else. Only UPS it has. Around maybe what would say it costs it give you around 20,000 watt. 20 kilowatt is enough to run some servers and switches for whole almost 5 to 6 hours. That's enough, like 20,000 watt, or like this is good. You can buy from Eaton is a good one. Eaton, APC, these are units are really great. These are good brands. So hopefully everybody understand what is UPS, right? And then you have so this is kind of maybe another server, or could be voice over IP systems, right? Could be voice over IP systems, or could be a camera system for a system surveillance, right? And this could be you could say just for alarm system, right? They make a small server. This guy, which is here, we call it KVM. What do we call it? KVM. So KVM give you a one virtual keyboard, virtual mouse, and everything. So it has 5, depends on what your system buys. So mostly it starts from 3 devices to 18 devices. You can connect to one. So varies on what type of KVM you're buying right now. So it's minimal 3, and we have right now 5 at our office. So what it does is actually take one VGA cable, a VGA type of, VGA cable, right? What is a VGA cable? Does anybody have any problem with the VGA cable to understand what is VGA cable? Anybody? You can put in the chat so I can show you what is VGA cable look like. No? Okay. So I assume that everybody know what is VGA cable. Nobody has raised the flag right now. So okay. So VGA cables with one mouse, a keyboard, mouse, and a keyboard cable. It is a bundle of cable. So it will be a one straight cable which has a VGA cable inbuilt in it, and one mouse cable with it. It could be a legacy one, or it could be a new USB one, and one for keyboard, right? It will connect from here, or from all the devices at the back to here, to this guy. So you have a buttons here. You can control all the 5 devices at the same time. You can just switch the screens, switch the screen to number 1, number 2, number 3. If you press the number button 5, so you will see the 5th device that you connected there. So you have to manage as well, like, which will be a first device, which will be a second device, which will be a third device, which will be a 4th device, 5th device. So you manage like that. So make sure you do that as well, right? You don't need it for switches. This is only for servers. So KVM only used for servers, only for servers. It's never meant for switches or something like that. Switches has a different protocol that you can manage switches from many, or routers and firewalls from many other types. You don't need KVM for that specifically. Here it does show, it shows us, okay, UPS at the number 2. It's not a good practice. Never put UPS as that spot, because UPS is really heavy. It's really heavy actually. UPS could be vary up to like 100 kg around easily. Like any switch, any normal UPS, you would see a 100 watt, or maybe 2,000 or 500,000 watt. It's actually very heavy. I've seen it. One time I lifted, my back was literally almost hurting, because it was really heavy. It could go 200 kg or 500 kg as well. Like full rack could be one. So always put this kind of thing, like you have, always put it bottom. Always. Any kind of UPS, always put it bottom. Never put it at top. At the first row, this would be your gateway, edge gateway, which is your internet. So I'll show you. I'm just going to clear up a little screen right now. Then I'll come back to screen again. I just get a messy little bit, so I'm going to make sure it's pretty clean. So first unit, let's say, assume it is first unit. So you have a first row space is empty here. So you put it your edge gateway, which is your internet. Could be a fiber, or could be Ethernet, like a copper cable, right? Then you can put any of your distribution switch, any switch, not distribution. You can say just a switch. I'm going to put a distribution right now just to make more, more sophisticated when it comes to. right? And it will keep carrying on. So let's say some racks may have two type of racks, like backside is empty right now. I don't think so. This is the back is empty right now here. Okay, so let's okay, yeah. So this rack back is not empty. So what happened, like there are some racks, mostly new racks right now. The way its front is open, the back is open too. Like you can put so many stuff at the back as well here. I'm gonna show you that too, if I get find somewhere here that a picture. And then I'll show you. I'm gonna bring that picture. So here is the picture. You would see what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start my pen so you understand a bit about it. So here. The first one, they close it for some reason, right? They close it for some reason. Could be they don't have any edge gateway, or this is just for data center switch, right? Data center one. So you would see here the switch 1U. See, this is the screw that how you screw inside, right? This is the screw you have inside. And that's the switch you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There could be more switches, but depends on your, enterprise, or depend on your office, how many switches you need. Right now, they need a lot just because they have a bigger data center, or they want to have more servers. So they have so many switches here, right? 1, 2, 3. Like this is a backbone. So this thing actually go on the top mostly, but some people want to have it somewhere here. The reason they want to, keep the switching the cables off, this is the edge gateway where your internet works. Your internet works here. So when you receive your internet links or WAN links, WAN is same as internet, but different kind of capabilities there. So internet is kind of one type of service of WAN. So it could be WAN, could be many type of WAN, but internet is one type of WAN. But WAN could be many type, could be many. You don't have to confuse between internet and WAN together. Like internet is one of the service of WAN. So some people like to like to put it here, or want to terminate here. Some people, like mostly company, want to go top. The reason behind it, when you go on the top, so you have a managed network where you can see, okay, where you want to see when the network goes out. So here is kind of a little messy for sure, right? And so you can keep carry on here. So now this cable, see this cable, this black or blue, what kind of the cable is it? This is kind of a router right now. These are not switches. I'm finding if I can find a switch as well, switch cable here as well. Give me a sec. Okay. I haven't seen it, but anyway, I'll keep this one as well. So this is another, I got the picture. So what you have here, you have switch on the top, or maybe this switch will be running maybe this switch is running as WAN. So they maybe what they did, they put few cables of internet here, right? Internet here, and could be that, could be that has been terminated here, and after that this switch is giving internet to everybody. So this is actually a good diagram, very good red diagram they have done. So good picture actually. Whoever done this job, they have did a good job actually. We have done the same kind of job before too. So these cables we call what? These are RJ45 Ethernet cable. RJ45 Ethernet cable. Ethernet cables. And it could be depend on what kind of cable. So you have a cable type CAT, which is CAT is, term for this cable, CAT 5E, A, CAT 6 only, CAT 6A, CAT 6A plus, which is a premium cable. Then you have a CAT 7, which is rarely being used nowadays. CAT 8 is in the market, but nobody uses it because it's really expensive and is only for data center with higher prices. They use it too, but I'll show you. I'll give you pictures of how it look like. I'm terminating these cable tomorrow, so I'll take a picture from the office and I'll send you, or I'll show you in the next class how this cable look like. Just want to make sure you have a right type of understanding of why this cable call it. So this is RJ45 type cable, and inside you have what? This much type of it. So one type has RJ45 is one way of terminating. This could be A size or B size, but you have inside so many. CAT A, depends on what kind of bandwidth you need. So this could be CAT 6A, so you will get 10 GB. 10 GB you can actually transfer the data. So if you have CAT 5E, so you can use just 1 GB data on the switch only. So depend on switch port as well and the cable as well. So you would understand how much data. So what? Let's say I'm going to ask everybody to, you can unmute yourself as well. Let me give you an option to unmute yourself so we can talk a bit on this. So I want to make sure you have an understanding of what we are trying to talk here. Right? Let me see if I can unmute everybody. Okay, Chaitanya, I'm just giving you option to unmute. Can you unmute yourself? And we can talk a bit about it. So everybody, it's not just Chaitanya, if you can unmute yourself and we can talk a bit about here. You can ask a question, okay, if you don't understand anything. I just want to make sure you have a right way of understanding what we are doing here. Okay, all of you can unmute yourself. Chaitanya is already done. Okay, Laban has already done. Bukhari, I think not. Chaka, Vikas, and Haitham Ahmed. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question for you. Okay, do you know, okay, let's say this cable is connected here right now, but where this cables are coming from? Do you know anybody? Which is this cables are coming, like this cables, where are coming from? This cable at the back. This is called patch panel. We call it what? Patch panel. We call it patch panel. Do you know anybody where these cables are coming from right now? If anybody wants to speak, any of you, don't worry even if you're wrong or right, but just, I want to communicate with you. So make sure you are understanding. If one guy understands, maybe other people too. So can anybody? Anybody?
Sir, wires coming from service provider.
Yes.
Yeah, true and not. True or yes. True or false both. So okay, give me a sec. Let me just open that picture. So okay. I'm sorry I couldn't hear you before. Sorry. Okay. So this, yes, you are true as well. This can come from service provider as well. This can come from service provider as well, but not necessary that it should be from them. Not sure. Okay, so what really you could do? So one cable can come from service provider. Mostly what we do, we directly ask service provider. We directly ask service provider to give one device here, one device on the top, which is dedicated from service provider. So it will be their responsibility to run a cables and what kind of cable they want, what kind of mask they want to put it here. It will be their responsibility. Yes. Service provider is fine. It's not a bad answer. It's kind of good answer. But as an optimized answer, these cables are from the end devices.
Okay.
End devices. How end devices? At the back of this, if you go, the cables are running in the ceiling or on the
Okay.
top and going to what? To your offices, to office bench, to your voice over IP system, to your phones, to your what? To your computer,
Okay.
to your
Computers, your
access point,
printers.
to your access point as well, which is give you Wi-Fi, could be going anywhere. But your servers are always here. You never put your server somewhere else. You always put your servers where? Here at the bottom or wherever you have a space. So you have a less running cables over extra load, or you can switch through cable very quickly, or you can retest the cable as well. I will show you how to test the cable as well. I'll show you how to terminate a cable as well, how a different type of termination like a fiber, RJ45 copper, a previous copper that we used to have a coax cable, we call it coax cable, and then single mode, dual mode fiber, how to test it even after termination. How would you make sure that these cables are fine? You can do from a tester as well, and you can do from switch itself as well. Even switch can tell you, okay, these cables are wrong, or like, this cable has a problem, or any problem is in the cable. So this is how your internet should work, how your rack managed, and how you run your cables. I'll show you how the rack cables. You should be have a picture here. I want to make sure you have. Okay, let me see if I can find cables, or at least a diagram. Sorry, I wanted to have a diagram earlier in my hand, but what happened? I was working on something else, so I could not get it. Anyway, it is here, right? Great. Here is a cable. Say here, you would see. See these cables are you seeing right now here? These cables? These could go from where? It could go
Yes.
to end devices. It can go to end device. So there could be so many cables, or just this cable. Depends on your office. Could be your
Okay.
office has only 500 people or 200 people. So it depends on, or you have just 1,000 devices, you have 500 devices, you have 100 devices only. So it depends on their need, you will run cables. You always run some extra cables. So you have 100 devices, so you run 120 cables, like 20 extra cables.
Okay.
Yeah. So you do like that. So this is actually go over the ceiling all the way to you drop it to where? To your office, or to your office lanes or office desk, where your desks are. So every desk may need one printer as well, one laptop, right? A phone as well, right? And one extra
Okay.
cable, just so you
So
have
all these switches.
four or five cables you have put to one desk, and that will connect to any switch that you need. Let me show you that. So here, so you would connect, let's say you have a requirement. Let's say you have a requirement of one cable. So you can decide it. So you have this switch for only for internet, right? Or for intranet. This switch is for printer only, right? This switch is only for voice over IP, only for phone. And this switch for just for, let's say, somebody have a special privileges for outside network. So you would decide, okay, which cable you want to connect it where, which VLAN you create it, right? You create the VLAN between them, right here. And then you can decide, okay, where you want to plug the cable and which VLAN you assign to that user, that computer actually, not user. You go by computer, not by user in this. So and computer has the privilege of, okay, let's say printer want to you terminate, you want to put the one printer here, second printer here. This is the printer switch 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can put the printers here. Let's say you have so many iPhones here, right? You can put your first phone, second phone, third phone. And either you can do any other way. So you can do distribute a half of the switch side for end devices for internet, half of the side for switch only for printing, right? You can even configure this way as well. So it depends on your network designer, whoever designed the network. I'll show you in the future too when we start designing the network, how to design the network, and I'll source this picture and we'll show you what is the best design, why Cisco want you to do design this way, and what will happen if you misconfigure design, if you misdesign something, what will really happen, what bad can happen to your network. So we will learn all this way when you go to the to the path. But right now, all I can tell you, I want you make sure how when you go to office and any other company, what you're looking for. What is there, what is the kind of devices there, what our network look like. Don't scare from that. Some people, what they do, just go to network and they do not know what to need to do. At least you must know there, if your boss asks you, can you please trace a cable, so which cable will be connected here. You can put there would be all the label numbers here. Every cable have one unique label. Every cable have what? One unique label. And from there you identify, okay, which cable will be connected. So both sides. One label will be on which side? One label on computer side or end device side, end side. One label here, other label will be here. So you identify which cable you will be talking about right now. Let's say your engineer says, hey, I have a problem with cable number 550. So you will check the label, which is the 550. And you will go here and you will see, okay, 550 is this one. And you will check the cable. Okay, if this link light is on or not, it maybe cable is connected here, right? So you will see if the link light, this green link light is on or not, right? Is active or not. If it's disactive, or it's not really, you don't see any link light. So what do? You will test the cable. You will check, or you will check if this port is shut down mistakenly by engineer or somebody. So you will check that as well. Or you did by yourself, right? So you would see, and you will see if this cable, this short cable, which is, we call it what? Patch cable. We call it patch cable. The short cable, we call it patch cable. Okay, and this patch cable will show you a really small path. It just connects to one device to this patch panel. Well, we call it patch panel. And I'll show you tomorrow how to terminate this thing as well. Patch panel, and we call it patch cable, right? Got in my point, buddy? And now this cable is here, this switch is here. So now you know what kind of problem you could have. You could have a cable problem from this to this one, or from the back to this point, which is office point. So you can test the cable and you can terminate and you can troubleshoot something, right? So here is your real network design, network rack look like. And one cable from here, it will connect to one of the servers. Not one, just you can connect multiple, like 5 or 10 kind cables to one server. Depends on server, how much server have the ports. So mostly servers start from 4 port. A 4 port is really great to have on your server, right? RJ45 4 port or fiber SFP port. I'll show you in the next class what SFP port and what is our real RJ45 look like, and show you a little bit termination on that as well, and troubleshooting too. And we call it LAN side. So this is if anything brings a network to your enterprise network, we call it WAN, right? If anything connect to outside of the world, let's say this point, this first thing is bringing the internet for you. So you call it what? WAN. And this switch, if this switch is connected to inside of your devices, right? Inside the devices, you call it what? LAN. So that's the difference between WAN and LAN. WAN lets you connect to the outside the world. LAN connect you to inside the world. What is the inside the office? Right? Any problem, buddy? Anything need to be explained more here? Anybody wants to speak or something, like say yes or no in the chat? Or Bukhari, yes, you were audible, buddy. If anybody wants to unmute again and ask something. No questions?
No question, sir.
Okay, great. So as you can understand, right? What I'm saying right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, nice to hear about that. So your concepts are being cleared. Nice to know. So again, I would say this is the first one you would say as a WAN. Any could be here, could be a Musk from your service provider, from your internet provider or your WAN provider, internet or a WAN provider right here. And then you would connect it. Let's say you connect to the outside of the world. This is WAN side. And inside the world, this is LAN side. This is LAN side, LAN side, LAN side, LAN side. So this is a good understanding. You can manage anyway. It doesn't need to be this only the LAN, like WAN side. You can make it LAN or WAN, doesn't matter. It's just some people, what they do if they're, let's say service provider cannot run a cable. Service provider cannot run a cable, right? Cannot run a cable. So what they do, what you would do if service provider, so you would run your own cable from that point, which is called demarc point. I'll show you demarc point, how it look like. It's mostly very messy, but So let's say anywhere your service provider in the building, they come, right? When the service provider building, they come to terminate your computer or terminate the internet, what they do? If they terminate the internet, so wherever they terminate the internet or wherever they get the internet connection, we call it what? Demarc point. Demarc point. It's a shared between the CE, customer and service provider, SP. It's a shared device. It's a shared device between the customer and the service provider. It's always. So you have the control as well, and service provider have the control as well. They have more authority than you. They can change a lot of them, but you can do some changes as well. So you could have this, if you do not have this here, let's say you do not have this here. So there could be a back of the room, like electrical room or something there. They may have a service provider, this thing there. The one on the top, Musk thing would be there. I'll show you actually if I get a picture here. What does a Musk look like? I didn't expect that I'll go that extent when I thought maybe I'll teach you a little basic, but then I said, okay, let's start you more with the things. Demarc point. Yes, I have that picture actually. That's good. I used to see that before. Here is the picture. So you would see something like that. Maybe more, you would see more better than that, but it's kind of, right now you would see, let's say, the way I told you before, that this could be your gateway, that it mostly is on your route, on the rack, on the top of the rack, right? On here, but they may have not a space to run this cable, or maybe it will be at different cost too. So that's what they do. Or they may not have a right spot from this demarc point to your rack. They don't have a clear path to run fiber or something. So what they do, they leave it here. They leave it on this one of the wall somewhere at the back of your building, wherever that you have let's say you have a building, this building, right? You have offices here, right? You have a network room here, where your rack is there, and you may have a demarc point here, So you have to run a cable from all the way to network room. So you have to maybe, depends on your needs, you can do it here. So see here, you would see this rack, see a little gateway here. So you will run one cable to your network room, or it could be here. Or this is for your voice over IP, or like let's say you have a phone lines, which is dedicated with extension or something from your service provider. So this could be this. This could be some coax cable for extra communication. And this is we call what? This is we call dry loop connector. Dry loop connector, we call it. Or this we call splitter. Dry loop connector and splitter is the kind of same thing. So you have one cable from the service provider and another cable, you will just put it here. So this is how it works. So you just terminate the cable on this, and then after you have an internet. See here, one cable is coming from here. This is called internet, and you would just get an internet from there. Then you connect to another site. Okay, any problem to understand here? I can clear more. or I can find another picture which has a better to understand or better to see a inside view. Anybody want to speak? Like, just chat, say, hey, can I see the more understanding on this? No, it's clear. Like, it's fine to understand that much about service provider and the demarc point. Okay, I'll think everybody know about it. That's great. So let's now move forward to a next slide, which is more like type of switches. Right now we just understand what kind of type of devices and type of what the rack look like, what a demarc point. We understand every part of that. We will talk about more in the future too as well when we talk about BGP and everything. Let's say here, this is a switch. This is a switch. We call it what? Switch. It mostly look like that. We'll see some demarc. You would see these kind of devices as well. This kind of demarc point as well. You would see somewhere. Like you would see most probably in the bigger companies, not really bigger, like let's say any enterprise network which has more than 200 devices, 100 devices, you will see approx every building in the world where you go, they may have some sort of this thing somewhere. So where they have terminate on this point, you get a connection on the back from the service provider. So let's say you get a cable at the back, this cable from the service provider at the back. So you have a two plates, one same plate at the back as well, and same at the front. So you terminate your two cables here and you get the internet. So you run a cable from here for RJ45 or for any WAN, for MPLS as well, right? You would see WAN, MPLS. So this is another demarc point that I used to work on. And this is the splitters here. It's not a really clear picture, but at least for understanding on CCNA level, it's enough to about it. This is another picture. So you may have a multiple line, so you want to display multiple lines, so you can run multiple lines from here. And you put actually a grid tag here, which cable is for what. Let's say one for a WAN. You would say, oh, one for ISP, MPLS. So, this is how it works. So this is very interesting to work on. If ever you work on this is very interesting. We call it BICS panel. What do we call it? BICS panel. This is called BICS panel. This is a very interesting to work on. So sometime you may have this kind of demarc point too, rather than just a switch or kind of a Musk gateway. So you may have this thing too, and you terminate this cable and direct from here to your router. And you will get one public IP address from there right away. So sometime, yeah, it's possible. Still, a lot of companies, they have this kind of thing, right? Okay, and this is switch. This is what a switch look like right now. This is the back of the switch, right? So this is what your power line. You put your power here, right? A power adapter, right? This would be your fan, right? So make the CPU calm or cool to CPU cooling fan, right? This is a very important part. This is for another VDC power adapter for battery, 12 plus minus voltage. This is for DC adapter. So you would have a yellow line minus and plus red. And then you have, please unmute yourself, please. This is your, this is your management console. This is your what? Management console. We call it management console, or we could call it, VTY line as well. But mostly we call it just a management port. So there are 3 kind of ports right now, management and available. One, it used to be legacy one, which is used a serial console cable. So you call it console port, actually, serial console cable. I'll show you what a serial console cable look like. This is a this is console port, or you can say management port. This is an old switch, but I'll show you in the new switch as well. Give me a second, I have to mute somebody. Okay, so this is a console port, and a serial console cable that you need. I'll show you what is a serial console cable look like, a DB9 connector. The most I use is this one. The most I have been used in my life is this cable. So this is your cable, actually. I'm sorry. Excuse me for that. So this is the console cable. What you do, sorry, you connect it to here. Sorry, not this part. So this part, you connected here for serial console. This is what serial console cable. In the old laptop, you will see this console port, right? In the old laptop, they're mostly a serial port like this available. But nowadays, what we have a USB port, USB-A port, USB-B port, USB-C port, right? These kind of ports are available now, today's laptop, in the future laptop, now what we are using right now. So old laptop we're not using anymore. So even though you may have the old laptops, so you can still use those ones. But what we do then after that, let's say now what we do if we don't have that. So we have DB9 USB to serial connector. So you may have this thing. This is what we call this is a DB9.
VGA.
DB9 serial to USB. There is no VGA actually. There's always a serial console cable. VGA in only in the servers. VGA are server to KVM or your computer monitor to your computer desktop. So serial are different thing. Oh, sorry, VGA are different thing. This is what switch. This is what serial console cable. Let's say if you don't have this port available in your laptop. So what you do, you will connect this port to here. And then this cable will go to your laptop. So now you have what? And this cable go here. Sorry, I don't know, my little throat is getting at them. So this cable is connected here, right? And then this cable connected here. And now you have this port available. This will go to your laptop, right? That's it. And then you will be able to configure your switch. That's how you configure your switch. So that's what is meant for management port or serial console port or console port. This is for old switches. Even though new switches have this console port available all the time, but now we have another way to connect as well. What is that? We have Cisco actually, almost every other companies now, they give you 2 or 3 ports available, not just one console port. So USB console port. Let me show you that. You would understand what I'm saying right now. Here is that. See. Everybody see that? This console port here. You would see the legacy one as well here somewhere, but this is the new type of port they introduced. And you would just need an Android cable. You know the Android data cable, but data cable. Android type B. Type B data cable. So some cables are only for charging. They only charge your phone, right? But you can transfer the files as well. Remember, like we have a two type of cable, only one for power adapter, right? One for power adapter, one for sharing files. Like some cables are both does do the same stuff, but you need here the sharing file one. So you can share the data as well. So all you need, you want to share the data. So it will work same as the console port, but your life is easy now. I'll show you that cable as well. USB type B. Here is that. See this cable. So what you do now, you will connect from here to here. Like this cable go here. And this is go to your laptop. Then what you need to do, you have some sort of kind of software that is called PuTTY. This is software that I opened for you. And you have an option for SSH. This is another way to type, but that's over the network. But this is called serial console. So when you serial console, you type the COM port. How to know the COM port is available? You go to the device manager. Go to your device manager. Go to the ports here. You would see some sort of ports. Right now you won't see because I did not connect to any, but in the next I will show you. But you will see one port here connected, something like that, right? A USB connector. So you could say, okay, COM port number 4. So you would understand, okay, that's the COM port. Okay. Any confusion here? No. So when you call the COM port here, COM number 4 or 5, and that's the same, all you need to keep it same. You open it. It will open a port for you right away. And it'll show you, okay, hey, connecting, and show you the switch console, how it look like. In the future, we will see the live as well in the next classes when you try to manage the devices, and we'll see that how our serial console port look like and how we connected it. So that's all about the console ports right now. And now you will see at the front, that was the back end. Now you will see the front. What does the front look like? Here, these we call access ports. So switch has two type of ports. One is what? Access ports, which is connect to end devices. Any end device could be server, computers, phones, right? And any end device, which is called. Then we have a trunk port. And generally, we use these guys for trunk ports, for trunking. Trunking means you want to connect 2 switches together, let's say, or 5 switches together, or 10 switches together. So when you want to, let's say you have one more switch here, right? You have one more switch here, and you want to communicate all the switch together. So what you gotta do? You will, 1 or 2 cable, you will put it here. This switch have the same cable as well, same type of port, and you 2 here. You connect it. and it will automate. And these are configured this way that it will automatically become the trunk port automatically. And this one as well, you can use this one as a trunk port too, but this has a lower speed. This is just a 1 GB in 1 GB speed, and this one have 10 GB speed, or maybe 100 GB, could be 40 GB speed each link, or could, yeah. So you use this one. These are the special ports that are given on the every switch for connecting switches together. Then another switch, then another switch, then you can go further away. You got my point, everybody? And here another thing. These are link lights. This is very important. Always check these lights before doing anything. It should say system, alarm, hardware, link light. It should say something. So if it shows any kind of amber light, red light, yellow light, any of them, just do not do anything. It means something happened there. It's a problem. It's a big problem. It's a big problem. Don't do anything. If you see any of light these, to shut off, turn off your, switch right away, and call any support if you have who can repair it, or do a RMA. RMA means request for, accepting back. That's for RMA. Do that right away. If you have a support for that, if you purchase the hardware subscription, just call right away. Hey, we have seen, or they can actually online troubleshoot you too. They can ask you to do some diagnostic on that, and they can, okay, this diagnostic, do this. Sometimes what happen, if you just reset it or power shut down 2 or 3 times, the switch will be okay. Sometimes, let's say you connect one switch here or something. Let's say you connect some other cable, which already is short from other side. Let's say cable is short from other side. Short in the sense they are connected together. They are joined. When you terminate that, cable got a problem, or cable got connected to a different port or electricity port or something. This can damage this port. So what switch does? Switch actually, not to make the damage it, they shut down this port and actually show you some kind of problem here, or on the console as well. Hey, I received a different voltage here from the other side, wrong voltage. Can you shutting down this? Which will show you we'll show you in the next class as well how it look like, what kind of troubleshoot, what you can do to troubleshoot this thing, right? What is inside, right? What kind of card is inside, right? What kind of motherboard inside? How this chassis is connected to that motherboard, how routing works. We will see in some classes when we do the switch hardware troubleshooting. We want to see that because that will make you a perfect engineer, right? You don't want to go to a company that you cannot troubleshoot, like a hardware level. So we will see that for sure in the next upcoming classes. So here is the power for switches, and some switches can give you power as well. Some switches, like we call it PoE switch. So mostly on those switches, these kind of problems comes because they're giving a lot of power, like 32 watt to 75 watt each port, and sometimes they get power back because of another port that you connected that's a wrong port or electricity port. You get it back, or there could be some running cable. Let's say one cable is running on the top of the electricity, and you hit that cable mistakenly, and you're getting a current back. You're getting what? Current back, or voltage, high voltage getting back from that cable. So what will happen? So you will have a problem in the switch. Switch will go some crazy thing, or maybe it will shut down, or it will show you some amber lights there, red light or something. Shut down that right away. Right away, what do you need to do? Shut down. Just perform the shutdown, this switch, and then call the experienced person or call the tech support, and they can actually troubleshoot better than you if you don't have experience. If you have experience, then do it by yourself. Any confusion so far with the switch? This is a one type of device in the networking. Any problem so far? Anyone? Yes or no? In the chat? Bukhari, Chaitanya, Ram, Yatim Ahmed, Okale, Lamakeba, Vikas? Anybody of you having any problem understanding it? what I've said so far. Okay. Can you tell me what happened when the link light do not come up? When you don't see any link light, what is the problem it means? Can you explain in the chat a little bit from your side? Or you can unmute yourself too. Let me see if I can option to unmute. Yeah, unmute themselves. You can unmute yourself and you can speak. Just want to make sure you guys understand what I've said so far, what I've been instructed you so far. I want to make sure that you guys are understanding and at the end you have the results. Bukhari, you at least. Chaitanya, you at least. Oh,
Sir,
okay. Hey.
sir,
Go ahead.
please, can you repeat the question again?
Okay, let's say I see amber light here on this port, amber light and red light here, or this port is not coming up. What could be the problem?
So if the light is not coming on, there should be either a
Say not
connectivity.
here only here, not this side right now. This is what? This is a whole system light. This is a hardware problem. This could be a hardware of Cisco itself in the motherboard. But this is a specific port. Let's say a light is not here. Let's say saying amber most of the time, or it's come amber, then after some time, what is going to happen? It just shut down. It should do not do any line. Do not show any link light here. What would be the problem then? Any problem? Any you could say, imagine.
So
Anything.
could it be a connectivity issue? Connectivity issue.
Okay, what else?
I think no device is connected to the point, sir.
Okay, one other thing. Okay, so let's say if you see any single light, either the amber light or half link light, it means something is connected. If there is nothing connected, you will not see any light. You will never see any light. That's the beauty of this switch. Every switch, never see any light. Any light. If you see amber, yellow, or you see no light after being amber to yellow. So what the problem could be what? Your cable is faulty. Your cable is faulty or your end device is faulty. End device is being turned off and turned on same time, or could be you're connected what? Voice over IP, a phone there, a voice over IP phone you have connected, which has a problem. Or you could be connected one what? Hub there, a hub. I did not show you hub yet, but I'll show you how. Hub is being obsoleted. Nobody uses nowadays hub, but still hub is in the market because they're really cheap. So, right? But could be you have connected wrong hub there and is sending you traffic back or a current back coming from another device. Let's say you have one computer is connected here and that computer PCI got corrupt or something happened with the PCI card, which has a switch, and they're sending the current back of 5 voltage, 2 voltage, ascending. So what will happen? It will shut down right away. Because switch is made by like that. If you see any problem in any port, they don't want to harm the whole switch. So they shut down that port. They just completely shut down that port. You can't do anything on that port. So I'll show you what happened, what kind of, what kind of activity you see on that after that. Let's say what kind of error you will see on the switch itself on the console. Could be error disable, could be error with the light activity, link activity, could be there is an access point, or could be there is something called like power adapter is connected to other side. So which is sending a current back and switch do not want to do. So when this happen, okay? Clear to everybody? Clear, Chaitanya? Okele? Sorry, Okele? Is it Leban? Kemba? It's clear to you, everybody?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
What's your name? Sorry,
Okale.
Okale. Okay, sorry, Okale.
It's
Nice
fine.
to. It's a great name. Sorry, buddy, I mispronounced your name. Okay, so we call this is Okale, right? So let's say this switch is working, so it will show you what? They show you here a green link light. A green link light, very simple. And both, it will be like keep blinking or keep stable. Depends on your end device, if this is a server or something. So it's keep blinking or keep stable. So you would see, okay, your link is active. It means there is no problem anywhere. It means your end-to-end connectivity has a problem. Sometime you may have some problem because of the cable as well. Let's say cable is faulty or cable is cutting somewhere. Let's say every cable has eight cables inside, which is 4 pairs, right? Inside could be only 2 is working, 2 is not working. So I'll show you when we terminate those cables, and I'll show you what really and how to troubleshoot that with the switch or with the any and what kind of devices you need to buy when you troubleshoot that. A very cheap one, not a very expensive one. I have a Fluke one, which is very expensive, like $9,000 to $10,000, just to test cables. But you may need to, short small one. I can give you like $200 or maybe $500, $50 one as well. I can suggest you where you can buy that, even the Amazon, and you can test some cables and you can terminate as well and troubleshoot too. So even the cable has a problem. Let's say 8 pairs is not connected completely on the other side, only 2 pairs is connected. So it will go from amber to yellow or something and just go turn off after that. Or it's keep on stuck on amber. Could be there too, stuck on amber, and you have no internet on the end device. So could be. So here we have. All right, everybody. So let's wind up our class now, because it's almost an hour more than that. So we can just do wind up and we can review what we have learned so far, what the pictures we have seen. And this was our first picture of this is our demarc point, right? And let me show you how it works, the demarc point. So you would see a picture, a connection from cable from here, from this demarc point to somewhere here, or there could be a box, or could you directly connect it to this switch or this switch, any switch, where is it say, or here you terminate it first on this patch panel. Depends on the requirement. Depends on your requirement. You can terminate anywhere. So there is no necessary standard, but it's always a electrical standard is there that you don't want to lose the cable. So you put in the patch panel nicely, test that cable, and then after that you put this patch cable here. So you can eliminate chances of failure, right? So you can eliminate chances of failure. So you can troubleshoot. Okay, this cable is fine. Okay, maybe the patch cable has a problem. So it's better to terminate somewhere here on this patch panel. And I'll show you what patch panel look like, but it's very simple. It's like just a jack there. You will see in your houses too, is a jack there, RJ45, the same you would see in here as well. I'll show you what is preloaded jack and other loaded, non-loaded jack as well. So you would what? This is your gateway. This is your internet service provider giving you this small switch here, and you can run a cable to here on the top, the shelf, if something here or here. Okay, clear? So that was your little bit understanding of what a look like thing. And this is another cable. This is your switch. These cables, it could be going to your server or could be going to what? To your end device. Depends how your system is. This is this picture. This is your another demarc point, another way of demarc point. This is your serial console. This is your DB9 USB to serial cable. And this is your console port. This is your just a serial cable, legacy serial cable. And this is your another just a USB Type-C cable, the new latest port that we have. Okay, guys, let's wind up here. We will surely meet in the next class and we will talk more about it. And then I'll show you how to terminate a jack and everything. And from there, we will learn more about our physical connection at least. Then we go further in the next lab and next class, and we will do some other way of around things too. And okay, guys, have a very nice day ahead. And have a very happy journey of our studying CCNA, and we will shoot you some homework as well. So you have to bring form that thing too. You have to fill that sheet where I have ask some questions, and you have to use your own creative mind rather than just go on the internet. I want to make sure that you answer by yourself. Okay, guys, take care. Have a very great day ahead, and we'll see you in the next class. Bye bye. Thank you.